Northwest Passage Environmental Protection Recommendations by Brittany Ray, Environmental Health Consultant and CEO of Ray Consulting Firm. Today, I will be discussing the environmental health threats and impacts the opening of the Northwest Passage will have on the fragile Arctic ecosystem and provide safety recommendations to ensure that all parties involved will be able to not only utilize this strategic route, but also protect the marine life, air quality, and indigenous people that occupy this unforgiving territory. The environmental safety recommendations that I will present today include designating the Northwest Passage as a particularly sensitive sea area, or PSSA, to safeguard the sensitive ecosystem and its inhabitants, discuss the importance of a double-hulled ship design, and use the innovative fuel technology to decrease greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to global warming. Increased maritime shipping activity through the Northwest Passage will pose threats never before felt in this once untouched region. The Arctic Marine Shipping Assessment reports the biggest environmental threat by the marine shipping industry is oil spills. With the amount of sea ice that vessels will have to plow through, the threat of an accident increases, especially if the ships are not equipped with safety measures. Ocean-going vessels, especially commercial shipping liners, contribute to global emissions of nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, and particulate matter, all of which contribute to global warming and the repercussions that follow with it, like a rise in ocean levels, shrinking shorelines, and changes in weather patterns resulting in more natural disasters. The international shipping industry also threatens native wildlife and the Inuit population that rely on those natural resources for survival. The negative environmental consequences can affect the feeding and migration patterns of the local animals and can also put a strain on the populations of wildlife that are already at risk of becoming endangered. A single oil spill can be devastating to such delicate species like polar bears, seals, and whales. When the fine balance of the food chain is interrupted, the local indigenous Inuit natives also feel the effects. Resources may become scarce or contaminated with pollutants, rendering them useless to the Inuit people. Other health risks can include asthma, certain cancers, food insecurity, increased exposure to contaminants such as mercury, and an increased exposure to zoonotic diseases as temperatures rise. There are safety precautions we can take to help keep the environment safe while allowing the shipping industry to benefit from the shorter route. One of the ways we can ensure the Northwest Passage stays protected is by classifying it as a particularly sensitive sea area, or PSSA. In addition to this safety measure, it would also be beneficial to upgrade ships to a double-hull design and use new engines that produce less nitrogen oxide emissions, and for ships to use fuel comprised of less than 1.5% sulfur fuels as recommended by the International Council on Clean Transportation. So what exactly is a particularly sensitive sea area? A PSSA is an area of ecological, socioeconomic, and scientific importance that is vulnerable to the effects of international shipping. To be classified as a PSSA, there are 3 areas to address. 1, there needs to be sufficient evidence that the area in question is of ecological importance. 2, the area has to be susceptible to possible damage by the international shipping industry. And 3, there needs to be viable measures that the International Maritime Organization can implement to protect the environment from the perceived threats. The benefits for the Northwest Passage include stricter environmental rules for those passing through the designated area. Examples can be that ships must limit or avoid sensitive areas or designate certain areas as sulfur oxide emission control areas. Initiating these protection measures can help support the ecosystem and protect it from the possible threats. For full PSSA guidelines, please click on the PDF below. Most U.S. and international oil tankers over 5,000 gross tons are required to have a double-hull design to help safeguard against oil spills. The extra outer layer, or void space, adds an extra protective layer between the oil and any potential damage taken on by the ship, whereas a single-hull design offers minimal protection. While this requirement is helpful with reducing oil spills, it does not help the problem of air pollution that the vessels contribute to. Investing in upgrades to existing shipping liners can help reduce the nitrogen and sulfur emissions that can contribute to global warming in the Arctic. Seeing as these pollutants also contribute to negative health effects, like premature death from heart and pulmonary diseases, it is crucial that preventative measures be put in place. The International Council on Clean Air Transportation has reported these upgrades as being feasible and cost-effective to reducing emissions when compared to other control measures. With this in mind, combining double-hulled ships with new innovative emission control measures can reduce not only oil spills, but also reduce the negative impacts ships will have on the air quality. In the end, everything we do has an effect on the environment we are in. Protecting the wildlife and habitat along the Northwest Passage by classifying the area as a PSSA and ensuring shipping vessels are up to date with the latest pollution reduction technologies are safety recommendations I highly believe will protect the environment while allowing commercial shipping to benefit from this strategic pathway. Thank you.